Hello and welcome to the Auto Guide Show. This week, Kyle drives a cool electric vehicle and something very fast, and I drive a whole assortment of cars, and then we have a very special guest. But first, a word from our sponsor. eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. All right, so because we want to keep lots of time for our special guest, we'll get through it's just reviews this week, no news, because we have a lot of car reviews to cover. So starting with something I drove, it was the Mazda CX-50. This is the fully loaded Turbo Premium Plus in the US, or just the GT in Canada. Basically the fully loaded, top of the line. And the reason I got it, it's not like anything had really changed, is I took it on a camping trip with my son. I wanted something not too big, but that could handle all the gear we'd need on a trip like this. The roads I was driving weren't overly rugged, but still, you don't want to worry about a car that may scrape a bumper going down through a pothole or onto the little road to get to your site. Mm-hmm. So, isn't too much that surprised me. The turbo engine is still very torquey, super smooth. Doesn't feel like 250, but we've gone over that. I'm starting to think it's not the engine, it's the 6-speed. I'm starting to think with a better transmission, I think Mazda has to purposely tune it down on initial torque to prolong the life of the transmission. Because when you're on the highway, sometimes when you grab the right RPM and the right gear, it pulls. And then you're like, why does it do this from the stop? So that's my theory.
So my theory is that, I mean, as our special guest will say later, there's a lot of freelancers in this business, and freelancers have to pay for their own gas when they get a car for review, right? And here in Canada, you have to fill up the gas on the car before you return it. And so my theory is that whenever it's a turbo Mazda, someone has filled it up on regular.
Yes, I don't disagree with that. I actually drove this a lot. Because of where our campsite was, I actually had to fill it from empty and put in the premium. And then I drove it a little bit more after that. I can't say I noticed a huge difference. I mean, we are talking 227 to 256, like 3 horsepower. But but before we move on quickly, the two big standouts are, I love on this trim, there's a light in the rear hatch area and on the hatch itself. So when you open the trunk at the night, because I was using the hatch area as my like storage / fridge / everything else, it's nice that you can see. And it has a 12 volt back there, so I could plug in my powered cooler. The suspension changes that happened in 24, I don't think I've driven one since. And this does drive so much like the Meridian did, or does. So they've really improved. It's still one of these stiffer compact or midsize, whatever you want to call this class. Yeah, but it's much improved, and I enjoyed it. I forgot how much I liked this vehicle, and it was kind of a nice refresher getting in it, and it's a great camping companion.
And we're going to see how it compares when the new CX-5 comes out in a few months.
Yeah, just like how the old CX-5 compared to it, now it's roles reversed.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of SUVs, what did you drive, Kyle? Hey, it's on the dirt road too.
It is. I did not take it camping, though. This was the 2025 Cadillac Optiq, the smaller of Cadillac's 4 EV SUVs, and then they have the Celestiq sedan, hatch, whatever. Yeah. I was very much looking forward to driving this because I like most of GM's small EVs, and this is kind of in a unique spot in the market where not a lot of the premium brands are playing in this size. I say small, but it's still basically 190 inches long, so it's actually a pretty big car. But that works in its favor in my mind because, you get a good back seat. We went on a long road trip with this. I had my wife and my sister along with me. Everyone really liked it. It's very smooth. I think that's the thing, right? Cadillac has really found its groove with all of these EVs because, let's be honest, the SUV lineup outside of Escalade hasn't really been a huge hit as far as critically. Like they've been fine, but they're also getting rid of or got rid of the XT4 and are getting rid of the XT6. So they weren't doing great. And this is a really impressive model that is also aggressively priced. It is basically just above mainstream models, but you're getting a smoother ride. It's very quiet because it has acoustic glass all over the place. And the interior is fantastic. It's up there with Genesis in my mind in terms of interiors that just feel special and have a really nice design and lots of funky textures. I really like it, and this is now my my suggestion for people who are looking for small premium EVs, especially because it also comes with a ton of tech as standard, including Super Cruise.
Yeah, I mean the GV70, I guess, is electrified, is its closest competitor. Now, does
Yeah,
this differentiate enough from the Lyric, do you think?
I think so. The Lyric, well, so it does for 2025. This is the interesting thing to me is for 25 for its first model year, it's only one flavor: 85 kilowatt hour battery pack, all wheel drive, 300 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque. So it's related to the Equinox EV. Next year, though, there will be a rear drive model with a little less horsepower, a little more torque, and then an all-wheel drive model, but at 440 horsepower. So it gets much closer to the Lyric. And so then I'm just like, well, wait a minute. So what's the big gap between them? And it gets a NAX port for 2026. So I feel like it's actually going to be stepping on the Lyric's toes more starting next year.
Yeah, I mean, the size thing, they're pretty close, but I guess they're considering them two different. I mean, it's sort of like, you can get a X3 M50, and that's making more power than a base X5. But
Yeah.
I get it, the luxury thing. Ben, before we move on, one last thing that you mentioned that is so true. Cadillac's gas SUVs outside of the Escalade, which has always been their thing, they're rebadged GM to a degree. Like they had to share a platform, and you're tied when you have the engine and transmission and everything so tied into a vehicle, you can't really change the structure. Whereas with EVs, you can differentiate so much more because it's like a skateboard. There's an open platform to build on, and they've done a really good job doing that. And I think it's what they needed. It makes sense getting rid of your other EVs if they're not doing anything for your brand. And that's why I think their cars are so good, because those cars, they're the only rear drive platforms. So they don't have to share with anything else in North America, at least, and they stand out.
Yeah, you've nailed it. And this does feel very different from an Equinox EV. So it justifies its existence. So yeah, very good.
So keeping with SUVs, I completely different. We're going all over the map here with these SUVs. So I drove the Ford Bronco four-door, and this is the Heritage Edition. Now, those who listened to the podcast last year, we had the two-door Heritage, and we compared it to a Wrangler and a Land Cruiser, and this would have been the better apples-to-apples matchup. But I was driving this more as sort of just, I don't know how to explain it. I guess almost like a coolness factor. I wasn't going to take this on any serious off-roading. I was just driving around town, a little bit up to the cottage. And yeah, it's one of those vehicles that just makes you like happy behind the wheel. It's impractical in many ways. It's got terrible fuel economy, and it's super wide because the Heritage comes with the Sasquatch package, which I say in my review is, I think, an absolute must for the Bronco. I saw so many Broncos without it driving around, and it just looks skinny tires. Looks like almost on stilts. Looks very pedestrian. Whereas the Raptor's overkill. This is the right in between, and those giant beefy tires just complete it. And I think part of it is because it is a big looking vehicle. I mean, it's not that long. To your Cadillac point, this isn't. I don't think this is any longer than the Optiq, but it just looks big because of its imposing squared hood. Yeah, and driving it feels big, but you also feel like you should go off roading or just leave the city and go on an adventure. And the retro styling, like it needs to have this robin's egg blue. It's such a nice color, and the white roof and the white wheels and the red lettering. Like everybody complimented it, and it didn't matter if they were really into Broncos, knew the history, someone into cars, couldn't care less about cars. Everyone was like, that thing looks so cool. And it's because it does. I mean, it's a lot of money and it's going to use a lot of gas, but if it's your sort of thing, like it's way more livable than a Wrangler, which is another big plus.
That was what I was going to ask is do you think it puts distance between it and the Wrangler in terms of everyday livability? And it sounds like, yeah,
like it's got a choppy ride because it's so off-road bias, but so does anything. Like even Passport Trail Sport, the Land Cruiser, they're still better than this, but they're not much better because you need to have a certain level of capability and suspension, I guess, stiffness to handle if you're going to really hit something hard. But not having a solid front axle and being able to build this more as a modern platform, it's. I did a lot of highway driving and it was perfectly fine. I mean, you have to do little corrections, but I was surprised too. There's hardly any road noise from those massive tires, but that might have been because there's so much wind noise coming through that roof. I know you talked about this with the Gladiator a little while ago. Well, this had the solid roof and it now has sound deadening material in it, and it does nothing.
No, it's still really loud.
So now we are completely getting into something different.
Yes, talking about loud. I was in the 2025 BMW M4 CS, and we've driven a lot of BMW M products in the last year because the 2, 3, and 4 were all updated for 2025. So this is the top dog one. This is the limited production, more powerful, but all-wheel drive M4. And I have mixed feelings on it. It's better to drive, but it's also 40% more expensive than an M4 competition xDrive.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it's sharper. I was against the carbon. So it has a different center console, and you don't have cup holders. In the M3, I thought that was silly because it's a sedan. But for the coupe, I was like, you know what? Sure. Sign me up. I like that it's just that little bit sharper. Because it's lost weight. It has unique suspension tuning, 20 more horsepower, not that it needed it because it's a BMW engine, and some unique aero parts. So it is pretty good to drive. I mean, there's still the M4 weakness of having kind of strange, vague steering, but it's so sharp, and on a dry road, it is wildly quick. But I can't get over that price. And like, I get that people are paying because they're buying a limited model, right? But at that amount of money, I start questioning what other products I would get if I was really concerned about like a pure driving experience.
Sounds like they've gone full Porsche GT3 RS here, where they're like, hey, let's just jack the price up on our super special vehicle.
Yeah. And I mean, like, sure, if they sell them, there's a market for it. Great. And I will say, it's been a few years now since we've had this generation. I'm not opposed to looks anymore. And in fact, the CS in particular, when it has the red ring around the grille and the yellow DRLs, it looks like a race car. It looks like the GT3 car. So I'm good with that. And this matte green is fantastic. So there's a lot to like about it. It's just, boy, I hope you really like it.
Well, wrapping up our discussion on the reviews of the week is another BMW, but this one's very different. I mean, kind of has a very similar engine, a lot less powerful, but it was the BMW 540i xDrive. Now, for American listeners, it's just, okay, what's the big deal? We've had that forever, but in Canada, we don't have this. In Canada, we have the 530i, or you go to the 550e. So this is the only way you can get the turbo 3-liter inline six without all of the plug-in hybrid extra power, yes, but also extra weight and complexity. So in Canada, for the 2025 year, we are getting an option, and it is called the Legacy Edition. And it only comes one way with that engine, which is the vehicle I have. You can choose the exterior paint, and the interior trim is the same you would find in the 540i in the US. And a lot of the 5 Series, they have the different color schemes, I guess, and materials, but there's no options. It comes basically with all the options you could get on a 540i in the US. So it has the panoramic moonroof and the M look package and all that stuff. Okay. The big thing in Canada is we get a paint color that isn't exclusive in the BMW world. This has been on many products over the years, but it was on the older 540i's. They're trying to tribute to the the 90s and early 2000s 540s with the V8s, and I'm just trying to remember what it's called. It's got a very specific, it's Maldives.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes, Blue 2 metallic. Because they always have numbers, just like how I had that retro M3 and it was the car Yellow 2.
Yeah.
So
the sequel.
So this was the one I remember most recently on the M2s, but I know it's been on other vehicles. So you can't get this in the US on any 5 Series. M5, 540, 550, 530. So it is exclusive to Canada.
Gotcha.
And it isn't the only color for this. You can pick basically any 5 Series color, but it is the one to really do the throwback. And it's got the throwback 540 badge where the 5's way bigger than the 40. But that's really it. I mean, I know it's called Legacy, but
Well, BMW started doing that now.
oh, so they've gone back to that?
Yeah. For I think it was 25, they've started doing that for all the cars that got facelifts. Is that it's big number than little number.
Oh, okay. Well, this one has that. So that's even less retro. So it's the paint, which you don't even have to put on the car, but
But you should.
yeah, unless you want to be subtle. But
You won't
there's
know.
some really cool matte options, but they're really expensive. But anyway, back to the car. I mean, the 5 Series is just such a good vehicle. You've driven many gas and electric, and I know you've been saying that. This is the first time I've driven this generation, and this is such a nice car. It is crazy how smooth everything is. The steering, the brakes, the power, the gear shifts. Like it's so refined. I said in my review, I don't know how BMW makes the next generation more refined than this. Like, I don't know how you get beyond this. It is such a good vehicle. And this 6, yeah, it makes 375, which doesn't sound like much for a 4,300-pound car because the 5 Series is heavy, but it still could do 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. And it flies. And it's got power at any speed. And they have the sound augmentation inside, even if they don't call it out, that makes it sound a little lower and grumblier, so it makes a nice noise. And yeah, it's just a nice package. And price wise, it's right on top of what a similar A6 or E450 would be. So it's not like it's this crazy premium, and it's a very good vehicle for it. And I'm happy that we get it in Canada, even if it's only in this one package. And I just hope maybe it sells well and the 540i will stick around, because the 4-cylinder is good and the plug-in's good, but this is sort of, to me, the one that is what people are looking after in a 5 Series. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
well, but it's the classic recipe, right? So yeah, okay, yeah. I hope what you said is like maybe this will be a nice sign for BMW Canada to be like, let's just put this on the lineup all the time.
I couldn't believe how well it drives, like ride quality, for having the 21-inch wheels, because I saw them with 30 Series tires. I was like, oh, this is going to be rough, because it doesn't have air suspension or any of that stuff. This is just suspension, but they tuned it so well.
Interesting, because I'm pretty sure the 550e I had in the winter was on the same wheel, but it was on winter rubber, and I found it really stiff. So I think, like, as we've all known for years, tire selection is important.
And they may have to stiffen the springs because of, like, you have an extra 500 pounds, I think you're hauling around.
Yeah, that's true.
And one last call before we move on, because I know we're going long here. The interior, the light game, amazing in this car. The way the screens and the ambient lighting is, like, they don't have like little ambient single line LEDs. They have like a bar, and it's a full screen basically all around the dash and into the doors. And putting in the different modes, which I hate that you can't customize the modes as much as you used to be able to, but it does look really cool when you go through different modes. And yeah, it's at night, this car is just amazing looking inside, and it drives really nice. So it's one of those rare times I'm in an electric car and I'm like, that's a lot of money, but you know what? If you spent it, you got what you paid for.
Sweet.
All right, well, that wraps up the reviews on the Auto Guide show, brought to you by eBay Motors. We're going to take a bit of a break here, and when we come back, we'll have Greg joining us with a special guest, and then I'll have Colum on to talk F1, and then Kyle will be back to take a look at what's ahead. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. It's all thanks to their new secure purchase. Ever try to buy a car and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on some blind trust? Or spend half the day at a dealership talking to pushy salespeople and signing paperwork? Or maybe worst of all, wait hours at the DMV just to transfer the title? That era is over. For years, eBay has been the go-to for gearheads, collectors, and DIYers. Because whatever you're into, from classics to SUVs and trucks to imports, eBay's got it. And now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your next ride, it's where you can buy it, start to finish. Sellers and titles are verified, paperwork is handled by experts, and payments are traceable and digital, so you know exactly who you're dealing with and exactly what you're getting. Plus, you can finance, insure, and register your vehicle all in one place. No more hours at the dealership. No more trips to the DMV. Get your vehicle, plates, and paperwork shipped to your door ready to drive. And it's all part of one seamless process designed to feel as easy as buying anything else online. And eligible vehicles purchased on eBay are backed by up to $100,000 in purchase protection. Thinking about selling your ride? Secure Purchase makes that simple too, because you know your buyer and their funds are verified. If you still owe on your car, the financing payoff is fully integrated, so you're not chasing paperwork or waiting on checks to clear. And with Secure Purchase, you get paid fast, and you're not going to be stuck chasing no-shows or answering the fifth, still available messages. This is what modern car buying looks like. Skip the DMV, skip the sketchy meetups. Buy it on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, and eBay subsidiary. Okay, welcome back. We have a special guest with us this week. So special, even Greg's joining Kyle and I. If you could just introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm the special guest, right? Okay.
Yes.
This is Emmy Hall. Hi, you guys. I'm a freelance automotive journalist. I get to work with Greg every now and again on some projects. People might have seen me on doing the video reviews for Edmunds.com, which is super fun. And then I also have a lifted Miata that I build and race when I have money in off-road desert races. So I got my little fingers in a lot of sticky car parts.
Yes.
That sounds painful.
I mean, it is sometimes when I'm, like busted knuckles or like I've got a little thing on my hand because I touched the exhaust because I'm dumb. And so with this little like blurb on my hand, I'm like, ow, it itches because I burned my hand on the exhaust because I'm dumb.
I don't think anyone can truly say they're into cars if they don't have a permanent disfiguration from a car. I have one on my arm from 12, 15 years ago. I was bolting rivets into the floor of my Miata because it was all gone from rust. And the drill bit broke off and went straight into my arm. And it was more what you said, a burn than anything else. But yeah,
that's what I'm always afraid of when I'm working on cars, especially if I'm working with like anything that spins really fast, like a grinder. I'm just always afraid that I've like put the blade on there wrong and then it's going to come out and like split my face in half. So I'm like miss safety with like all of the safety gear on all the time. I look like a freaking idiot, but my face is still here. So that's good.
We've all watched Final Destination. We're just being careful.
Right. I know how it goes.
Glad I just finished drilling for the last week and a half and I'm over that because now I'm a little paranoid. But anyway, back to cars. So one of the first questions we always ask people is, were you born into a car family or is it something that you developed an interest in on your own?
I mean, kind of was born into a car family. My dad was always into like, camping and off-roading. And we had a dune buggy, an air-cooled dune buggy, which back in the day was like, that was stuff that you had to build in your garage. It wasn't like today where you can just go buy a side-by-side, which I call golf carts. You can just like go buy one and go out and wheel. Like you actually had to build it. So my dad was really into that. And then he started racing off-road. So I was always in the, just kind of in the area of it. And then like a couple years later, I was going through some papers and I found the like NHRA drag racing rules. And I was like, that's weird. Like dad was always into like off-road cars. And my mom was like, oh no, that's for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, she's like, yeah, I used to take our Ford with the police engine special and like go out and street race it. And I was like, how is it that you never told me this?
Secret life as a street racer.
I know. Well, I don't know. Maybe she thought, I don't know. I don't have no idea what she thought, but I do remember growing up, like she had a manual Toyota Celica, like a 1980 with the louvers and stuff in the back. And so she would like let me, like shift from the passenger seat. And then I'd be like, mom, get all Burt Reynolds. And she would like squirrel around a corner and stuff. So, my mom always liked to drive. She was never into the professional part of it, but she always liked to drive. And then dad was just kind of like a grassroots off-road racer.
That is quite the pedigree, actually. I think it almost sounds like you're downplaying it. That kind of sounds like a Netflix special or something. So that's pretty cool.
Well, you should see how my mom drives now. It definitely has not kept up with her, but she's in her 80s, so like you can't blame it. can't blame her. And she's still driving, so I'm really glad for that. And I feel okay with her driving. Like I don't feel like, oh yeah, she's gonna like kill herself and somebody else. Like she's still doing pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Still squeezing around corners.
Curious about the Miata. Like, what was the attraction there beyond like it seems like all us car journalists like Miatas, right? But what led you to it?
So I've always loved off-roading, right? Like, I mean, like I said, I've come from that world. And I started racing off-road in an air-cooled Volkswagen. It's called a Class 1600, which is basically a 1600cc engine. You could have a bus transmission, but it's a rail. There's no body frame to it. And that's really fun because it's a driver's class. You really have to rely on momentum to get you through because you've got less than 100 horsepower. But at the same time, like I've always loved Miatas. I've had 4, I think. I had my first Miata was an NA, and then I've had NBs ever since. And like I love it for all the reasons that you guys love it. It's easy to work on. They're relatively inexpensive. You can't really mess up too much because there's not a lot of power. And when you get out of sorts, like it's really easy to bring it back. It's the best. It's the best freaking car on the face of the planet. So I was like, well, why not combine these two things? And I had seen some things on Instagram where it's like, oh, we've got like a lift on ours. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then when I finally got one, I bought Buddy during COVID. Buddy's the name of the Miata. I bought him during COVID and he already had like a little 3-inch lift on it. But as I started learning about the platform and learning about what was commercially available out there, I was like, this is all great for like fire road. Oh wait, did I lose? Did I freeze?
Oh, no.
Where did I freeze?
It just skipped for a bit. We're all good. Audio is all good.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. But when I started learning about the platform and what was available commercially, I realized that it's really great for people who like want to do fire roads or rallycross or something that's on like flat roads. But that's not what desert racing is. Desert racing is whoops and silt, and sometimes you've got some rocks and stuff. So I knew I needed to really strengthen the car. And it's just been like this giant, crazy learning process where it's like, I don't know, let's try this. And then let's go out and beat on it until it breaks. And some of the parts have been remarkably robust and some of them have been really terrible.
So safe to say you're not driving stock suspension at the time.
Well, here's what's funny. So I have custom upper front controller arms with a uniball. And then the lowers on the front and the rear are all boxed. But I still have, but they're stock. And then I still have stock uppers in the rear. And I have a set of adjustable ones that I'm like, I should probably like install those. And then I'm lazy and I never do it because nothing's broken. So it's like, why? It'd probably help with, with my alignment if I put those adjustable ones in. But like so far, it's been pretty good. But the shocks and the springs, like those are totally, totally different. So the mounting points in the front have been moved out a little bit. So I just get a little bit more angle on that for a bit of a smoother ride. And then I'm running Fox 2.0 smooth bodies with reservoirs, which really helps keep all that shock oil cool and keeping that pressure up so there's less fade. And then I've finally got my Hyperco springs dialed in. I've got dual springs on it. And it's just been a hard, because it's like no one's ever done it. And it's like, well, what rate do you use and where do you do this? And, so Hyperco's been really good at working with me and just trying a bunch of new things. And, usually when you do a shock testing or a spring testing in off-road, in general, if you're doing it on a side-by-side or even in something that's OEM, like it's pretty easy to take the shocks on and off, right? It's just like, oh, there's a bolt and it's like super accessible. And this one down here's, it is not that way in Buddy. Like you have to have a little bit of patience and like the whole corner has to come apart in order to get it out. Like it's not an easy thing. So it's hard to try to make tiny little adjustments just because the preparation and getting stuff in and out is a little hard. And then I have these super cool 3D printed bump stops by Perry Parts. And that's kind of awesome because I can tell him like, oh, well, I just, I think it needs to be a little stiffer, a little softer. And he can just reiterate really fast. And fortunately, those are pretty easy to get in and out. But like, that's kind of awesome. Like 3D printed bump stops. Like, what's that about? And it's pretty rad. So now he's like skipping over the whoops pretty good. It's still not the fastest thing out there. And I don't have a ton of travel because I'm working with the stock arms. But I love him. It makes me so happy.
I think that's always
right.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I think we would all agree that, the car, whether or not it's the quickest or not, it's like the fun is just being with it.
Yeah, and I love the joy that the car brings to other people. Like if I, the car's still street legal, and it's very not really, but kind of sort of. So like if I go get gas at a gas station, like everybody wants to stop and talk. And then when I take them out to a race or something, like everyone gets really excited about the car. And then they're kind of surprised by Buddy's capability. And I have a lot of people say like, you need to put a LS in there. And I'm like, well, dude, if I do that, then first of all, why would I do that when there's like 8 inches of travel? Like that's just stupid because I'll never be able to use it. And if I do put that in there, then like everything has to come apart. It's new springs, it's new shocks, it's new arms, it's like new steering rack. Like it's too much. I don't want to work that hard.
Yeah. Replace one part and you got to replace everything else is something I think a lot of people don't remember or realize when it comes to modifying cars.
Yeah. It's always like some crazy domino effect where you're like, oh God, it's never going to be okay.
Probably good
like
for
Kyle
eBay
said,
Motors, right? I mean,
no, I have.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess eBay Motors would love it.
If you want to talk about eBay Motors, so I went in because Buddy's having just some weird electrical issue. I don't know, maybe it's because I've done a lot of the wiring and it's dodgy at best. But like sometimes you just won't start. And so we did like a little bypass fuse for the ignition, like then that was working. And now sometimes it doesn't work. So I was like, well, I'll just get a whole new like ignition switch for it. And so I got on eBay Motors and I was like, okay, cool. And the part came to me and for some reason it was like in pieces. And I was like, am I supposed to be able to put this together? There's like little tiny springs and ball bearings and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But the cool part was like, I just emailed them and they were like, oh yeah, here, send it back. Here's a free shipping label. And you have like 2 weeks to do it. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So like, there wasn't any like muss or fuss when it comes to the return policy. And then I'll just go back and buy another one and, and then I'll be able to like swap that out. But I was just really excited about how easy the return process is. Cause sometimes, you buy a part and you're like, I don't really know if this is going to work. And like, will I be able to return it? But eBay Motors was great with that. So yay.
All right. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like Kyle was mentioning, it doesn't have to be the fastest car. It's what makes you happy. And I think all of us being car people, it's usually the truth. Like my favorite cars that I drive have never been the fastest cars I've driven. I mean, I like them a lot too, but the ones that I look back on or the ones I like in the past, they're all slow, but it's just what connects with people.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's how the vehicle makes you feel. I mean, the other day I had the new ND, which is, I mean, it's great. They've kept the nannies out of it mostly. And I took the top down. I went onto like a back windy road and I'm like, man, I feel free. Like the sun is out, the wind is in my hair. This road is awesome. Like this car is just doing everything that I want it to do. And you just kind of lets everything kind of go out the wayside. And you're just like one with this amazing piece of machinery. And it just makes you feel good.
Yep. I have a 35th anniversary one parked upstairs right now for testing this week. And I just got out of a Lamborghini Revuelto.
Oh, no.
And I'm so relieved to be in the Miata.
Yes.
Like the Revuelto is fascinating, but I was like, oh, it's so good to be in a car where I don't have to worry about speed bumps or potholes because the Miata just floats over them. The roof is so easy to use. Like, it's just so friendly. I love it.
I know. It's so great. And listen, I have a Mazda Speed, an NB Mazda Speed parked outside. And like, I love that. I love him. I love that car so much. But I'm driving the ND and I was like, man, this thing doesn't even have a turbocharger. Like it's all naturally aspirated and it's so good. And how is it that there's only 151 pound-feet of torque? And yet like I can pass anything pretty much. I don't know how it does. Like the gearing on it is so good. I love it. I can't wait to write that review.
That's a fantastic engine.
Yeah, I assume we're all talking about the manual, right? I'm sure someone has tested the automatic and maybe the gearing's good on it, but like
I don't know. I mean, yeah, because the thing that I don't like about all of like the NBs, and I don't know what the NC was like because that's like not really a Miata, but you get it into 6th gear and it's not like that gear is any taller. You're just like you're still driving an angry Bumblebee at 4,000 RPM, right? And I love that in the new one, at least when you get on the highway, you'll drop those RPMs a little bit so you can get a little bit better gas mileage. That part's really nice. But then the way they just did, 1st gear, like 1st through 4th or 5th is just great. Great.
Yeah. Well, I've had 35 years to perfect it.
I know, right?
Honestly, at this point, it's kind of just a class. Like, we have compact cars and large SUVs and stuff. It should just be Miata as a class at this point. It's lasted longer than the cars it was originally trying to be.
Right. I honestly haven't been in like a BRZ or anything lately, or the FRS, or the GR86. I would love to drive them back to back just to see, because I have no idea.
They're different. I just drove one like this week because there was a Toyota event. But they do feel noticeably bigger and heavier and quicker. I understand the appeal, especially because when it's a coupe, you're like, oh, I get more space and technically a back seat. But they're a different proposition in my mind.
Yeah, and I get it too. Like you're right, like with the hardtop, because sometimes if you want to take your Miata out racing and you don't have the hardtop, like that's a huge thing. And hardtop, I don't know if you've seen it, but the hardtop market right now for like NAs and NBs is out of control. People are getting like $2,000-$3,000 for a hardtop.
Oh wow,
bonkers stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, like I said, the Miata, all these people tried to compete against it and they all failed early on, and they just haven't tried again. And it's sort of like, it's completely changed this year, but what the Outback stood for. So many competitors tried to make their own Outbacks and it never worked. No, the Outback's a SUV, but yeah, it's good when a car comes along and it just nails the formula so well.
Well, speaking of Subaru, out in my driveway right now, I have a Crosstrek Wilderness that we're taking on the Rebelle Rally in a couple of weeks.
Fun.
And I've done a couple of modifications to it. So I did wheels and tires. So we got some BFG KO2s that are like they're 65s instead of 60s. And method wheels. And I put some skid plates on it, like front, diff, and transmission. And then we put a 2-inch lift on it. And you guys, every time I look at this thing, I'm like, I kind of love it with the lift. It looks so badass. It's so high off the ground. I just think it's great.
Is this a press car or like a donor car? Just curious how this all came together.
It's a donor car. I got it probably a month ago, and so I've beat on this car already. Like we've been out to the desert, we've been out to Glamis to do some testing on it, and then we drove it up to Washington, and my navigator for the Rebelle Rally is an instructor at Dirtfish. So like she hooned it around on the Dirtfish track and stuff. So slow. but it was really fun. So I'm excited to get it out there and just really see what the platform can do. I've always really liked the Wilderness platform. I think the suspension is set up really nice. It really did need the lift. Like even in Glamis, we were chucking it into some dunes already. And I was like, if we're doing this in soft sand, it's going to be way worse when we get to the hard pack stuff or to the rocky stuff. So
do you want to maybe preview, like, just since we're talking about the Rebelle Rally, like who you're driving with, like what's going to be like this year? Why do you do it? Like,
I don't know why I do it. It's the hardest thing. So for your listeners that don't know, the Rebelle Rally is, it's an 8-day competition. It's a navigation rally. That's all off-road, and there's no GPS. So all of your navigation is done with a compass and a map. And it's not about speed. It's about navigational accuracy. So There are 3 kinds of checkpoints. There are green checkpoints that are really easy to find. They're marked with a giant green flag, and they're just designed to like move you down the course. Then there are blue checkpoints that are a little bit more difficult to find. They're marked with a smaller blue flag or like a piece of blue rebar. And then there are black checkpoints that are not marked at all. And so you have to plot it on your map, drive to where you think that is, do like triangulation with your map and your compass and stuff, and then go, oh, okay, I think we're here. So it's really, really hard. And the competition is really fierce. It's only for women. So it's just a way to get women into motorsports. But it's not like pink washed at all. Like it's one of the hardest things I've ever done because it's 8 days of competition. You're up at 5 a.m. plotting checkpoints. You're 10 hours in the car, like you were camping, you're setting up your own stuff. You don't have access to your phone. You don't have access to computers or anything like that. So you're like really, really focused on this thing. And I've been involved in it in one way or another every single year. This is the 10th year. So I was in it I won it twice, once in a Jeep Wrangler and then once in the crossover class in a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Which I can't believe they let me take, but they did. I was like, okay, that's cool.
They say that they're always talking about like the desert capabilities of the Cullinan. Like in their press releases, they reference like Lawrence of Arabia and World War I. So
yeah,
awesome. More power to you.
It was the problem that I had with it was that you can't really find a wheel and tire package for it because the brakes are so giant. So you have to have a specific diameter wheel, and then the way the suspension is, it's got like that little top knuckle, so you only have a certain amount. The wheel and tire package can only be a certain amount. So they were like, I was really close to finding Nitto thought that they had something, and then Rolls-Royce was like, well, we really want you to do it on our winter tire package, and I'm like, you out of your mind? It was so bad. I got 3 flat tires. By the end, I was running with a plug in the sidewall for like 4 days because it was the only thing I could do. But other than that, there's a ton of power and you've got the air suspension that lifts you up. I mean, the approach and departure angles are really bad. So you got to stack rocks and do stuff like that. But I mean, for what it is, and you have massaging, like, come on.
I'm sure you're the only V12 in the competition.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the thing too, because we really had to watch. You can only refuel at base camp, so we really had to watch our mileage and not be stupid with that kind of stuff. But
end of the day, there's probably people who have like open top Wranglers that are all dirty and sweaty, and you're just rolling up in your Rolls Royce.
Right?
I've massaged my seats the last 3 hours.
Got like the wonderful like leather seats and everything. And we're like, oh, we're so fresh and clean.
But it sounds like a fantastic event. It's the kind of stuff that I love to do too. So yeah,
it's really fun. It's really.
I
fun.
assume there's a time limit. Like you need to make it there within a certain time each day.
Usually, it's a 10-hour day. So depending on when you start, you have 10 hours to make it back to base camp. Okay. And we'll have like over 20 checkpoints in a day. And so a lot of it is about like route planning and using your time wisely. And I mean, like, there's no time for dawdling. Like, like if you get stuck or you get a flat tire, like that's a major problem because you're going to spend time taking care of that stuff. And then you're not going to have time to get all your checkpoints. So it's all about like real careful driving, not taking a lot of risks. It's not about going fast, but it is about going quick enough to maximize your daylight time. Yeah. So we're going to do it on the cross track. I'm super excited.
And for
pretty capable. Sorry, Carl, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say for listeners, when is the event happening this year?
We start on, let me see. All I know is I need to be up in Mammoth for tech on the 10th. I think competition starts on the, let me see, we got 8th. The competition starts on the 10th.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that will be RebelleRally.com. There's a live show, and that's what I've actually been doing for the past 3 years, but I wanted to compete this year in the 10th anniversary. But there's a live show every morning where they talk about the course and they interview the drivers and the navigators. They'll sometimes do an afternoon update, and then there's an evening show as well. And all of that goes live on Facebook. And we have a really, really good live show team. It's really fun. So yeah, RebelleRally.com. There's all that stuff, daily standings. there's a lot of manufacturers that are participating. Jeep is participating. Ford has like 5 teams, and they're all in Raptor versions. So there's a there's a couple of Bronco Raptors. There's a Ranger Raptor. I don't know if there's an F-150 Raptor, but I'm like, that's a lot. Like, you don't need to go fast in this.
Yeah, that's serious.
It's gonna be a lot of gas.
Yeah. And the Bronco Raptor is so big. Like, the Ranger Raptor is the perfect thing for this, perfect vehicle for this, because you can go fast enough when you have the opportunity, but you don't sacrifice the nimbleness.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do a little.
We talked earlier on this episode. I had a Bronco Heritage, and that's like more than enough power and width. Yeah. You don't need to. A neighbor of mine has a Raptor and a base. Like, that's his and hers cars in their driveway. And comparing this thing to those two, it's like, yeah, it's just the right in between with the Sasquatch package. That's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Bronco Raptor is amazing. Like, it's so much fun to drive. I would never buy one. It's too big.
Yeah.
Well, back to your Crosstrek. I mean, that is a more capable platform than I think people give credit. I did the Wilderness launch in Sedona, and the Red Rock Park they had us going over. I was surprised what it could do. The biggest weakness was we were hitting bumpers. So you're kind of taking care of that by giving it 2 more inches. Yeah. So best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited. There's another Subaru team as well. Carrie Lando and Andrea Schaefer. They won last year in Carrie's personal Subaru, and then this year she's in the Forester Hybrid. And whereas I'm not doing a lot of, like, my navigator is Kendra Miller, and we're not doing a lot of modifications. We weren't even planning on doing the lift. We were just going to do wheels and tires. They're like basically taking everything from the Outback and putting it onto the Forester. So she's a lot of garage time to get that thing ready. But we wanted to go like as stock as possible without the risk of, bashing in our radiator. Yeah.
That's usually important, especially in the desert.
Strategy, right?
But I mean, like, it happens, you think, like, just because you go out one day and you go out for 2 hours in your Crosstrek and you're like, oh no, it's great. I didn't have any problems. We're out there for 8 days. We're out there for at least 80 hours of off-roading in a week. Like, the cars take a beating, and you really have to take care of that third teammate. And so I always put, like, on the steering wheel or somewhere, I put a message to myself, like, no flats. This isn't a race car. Like, take care of this vehicle, because there's mechanics in the base camps every night, but you're expected to work on your car. And if you don't know how to do it, they'll help you, but you can't just drop off your car and be like, oh, I broke it, fix it for me, I'm going to go to bed. Like, you have to be there, be an active participant, and then you're losing sleep, and then that sucks. Like, I've done it before. I want to do it again.
That's an important point you bring up, because I've had this conversation many times with people where the wildernesses are perfect examples. They'll say, like, oh, is that just like looks? I said, no, you wouldn't believe how capable this is. I've done X and Y, but I wouldn't do that if I own this car regularly, because it can do it, but it's not something it's supposed to do regular. And that's what you're doing to that vehicle. You're giving it last.
Yeah, that's why the Rebelle is a really good testing proving ground. Like Kia had been in it for a couple of years with their XRT things. Toyota's got a couple of teams this year. So I think we're the only ones in Crosstrek that are like factory teams. But yeah, we've got a couple of Ineos Grenadiers this year, which is gonna be pretty fun. Yeah. We had some last year too. So I'm always just like, oh, that thing's so cool. I hope it makes it.
Are they quartermasters? Because they don't like to maneuver.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what you need the compass for, is to plan its turns.
Yeah.
I have a slightly off-piste question based on an event we were at. I want to say earlier this year, Emmy. But what sort of experience would you say crosses over to doing things like the Rebelle Rally that you learned from being a sports mascot?
Oh my God.
Is there crossover?
I mean, I guess that you just can't be embarrassed. So yes, I was my high school mascot. I was a Wildcat, rawr. And yeah, that's so funny that you remember that. I mean, listen, the thing about the Rebelle or any kind of motorsports at some point, and even in our job as car reviewers, like you're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a mistake. I turned in a story for Greg where I rolled a Kawasaki and I was like, that was a mistake. You can't be embarrassed about it because everyone is going to make those mistakes. And it's all a learning process, so just like go out there and do it and do your best. And you might come in last. Oh, well, like somebody has to do it. And hopefully next time you won't be last, but hopefully you came in first and fun. And that's all that counts.
Kia used to do that on their press trips. Remember, they would give out like prizes and things. Like if you did this, you like got like a camera or a speaker. If you did something fun.
I think Chris Davies from Slash Gear and I once, we got Miss Congeniality on a snow drive in I think it was Kia. It might've been Genesis, but maybe it was Kia. I don't remember, but it was super fun.
Yeah, we did a lip sync battle once. I think it was the old Sportage. We didn't win, but we got an honorable mention.
Yeah, that stuff was fun. They should bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've definitely covered your racing side of things. Where are you writing these days? Where can people find you if they want to follow your...
Yeah. Let me see. I've gotten some stuff lately in at Auto Week, mostly like Mercedes-Benz stuff. A couple of things for Overland Journal. They published my review of the new Honda Passport Trail Sport, which was really fun. And like I said, a lot of stuff for Edmunds, a lot of videos for Edmunds, which is fun. We just did a 4-truck video with all the levels of the Ford trucks, Maverick, Ranger, 150 and 250, and just basically talking about like how much truck do you really need, because people always overbuy on their trucks.
Maverick.
That was pretty cool. And some stuff for Greg for ATV.com, which has been really cool. It's tough to sell those power sports things, so it's nice that there's a few outlets for that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really it's always a crapshoot. I'm just always like, gotta pitch this thing, and the freelance world lately has just gotten really competitive. A lot of outlets are shuttering or letting go of people. And so the freelance pool has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's just like, oh God, how many more years can I keep this up? I've in my mind, I'm like, I only have to do this for 5 more years, but I'm like, is that true? It's probably not true.
Glad I'm not the only one counting down. Like, how much longer could I do this, and can I do this?
Yeah, I know, because it's like I keep expecting it to like just end, like with all the tariffs and stuff. I'm like, oh well, no one's gonna have budget to like do press trips anymore. Or they're gonna pull cars out of the fleet, and like it's just, or people are just gonna stop caring about cars, But I don't know. I'm just trying not to think about it too much and just kind of look for ancillary opportunities of stuff that I can write and do, and then just keep as much with the car stuff as I can.
I feel like in the car, like journalism world, none of us ever like expect like a true retirement. We're all just like this is probably metaphoric, but like dinosaurs just waiting for the asteroid to hit, just waiting for it to end, as you said, Emmy. So I don't know.
I know. I mean, like I'm lucky enough to, when my dad passed away, he was living in Baja in Mexico. So like I got a place to go. You know what I mean? Like I got a retirement place to go. Like I don't have to worry about that. But like it's not like that's gonna happen tomorrow. Like I still gotta live right now. I still gotta buy car parts from eBay Motors for Buddy.
Yeah. Buddy's got a life of his own.
Buddy needs his ignition. Let's see if that fixes it.
You're covering all my eBay mentions. Thank you. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg, it's funny you say that, because I've been saying for years, because I've been doing this a long time as well, that when I quote retire, stop doing it full time, it's like I'll probably still like write a review once a month or something, like just do a little freelance work on the side just to do something. So yeah,
I always think. Oh no, go ahead. I mean,
but that's part of the thing too. Is like there's a lot of people in this business who are part of a 2-income family, and their spouse or significant other is like, I'm into AI programming, or I work at Google, or I do this or whatever. And so they're making a butt ton of money. So like the car person doesn't have to worry about bringing in so much money. But like, I don't know where you guys stand on like the partnered status, but like I'm single and I can only rely on myself. So like a lot of times I want to take that fun assignment, but it only pays $150. Like I can't, you guys, I can't, I'm grown. So like sometimes if it's a really, really great thing that I really want to do, I'll take that hit. But like most of the time those little bitty jobs are just not worth my time. And that can be really disheartening.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. We
Wow,
talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this last week a lot too.
Yeah, we did. And I think the other thing, like tying this all together about us saying like no one ever really retires, is I think about so often growing up, I really wanted to draw when I was a kid. And my mom told me that thing of like, oh, find a job you love and you never work a day in your life. But I don't think she realized that the flip side of that is like you find a job you love and you never stop working.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like all of us love this. The people who are in this industry love cars. We love driving a Corolla as much as we love driving a Miata. Like everything is interesting in its own way. And so it means that you're never going to give up. You're like, just one more.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Just one more. I just gotta get one more.
Hook it to my veins. And so like it's good for readers in my mind because you're getting this passion, but at the same time, there's no hard stop.
Yeah.
That was some good encouragement you got, Kyle. I kind of got what are you going to do with all this car knowledge when you're older? Like, how's it going to help you in life? Well, I found a way.
That's
what I take that, Mom.
I just heard you can't retire any of us. That's what I took from that.
No, not my parents. Funny. Like friends and random people would always say, like, why didn't you like? Who cares about this? What are you doing with all this knowledge? It's like I don't know. I'll find something.
Yeah. But I didn't even know this was a job when I was growing up. Like I had no idea this was a thing that you could do. And I mean, I didn't start in this business until like 2009 or 10. Like I was doing theater. You guys, I have a master's degree in costume technology. Okay. I essentially have a master's in sewing. So I was working at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. and like spending other people's money and seeing good looking people in their underwear as part of my job. Like it was fun. And then I met somebody who this is when YouTube was just starting and they had a YouTube channel that had like, 50,000 subs. Like that was a big deal back then. And then started doing stuff for them. And I remember when he told me that there were international press trips and I'm like, they just send you to Europe for free? He's like, well, yeah, but like nobody gets to like, that's a really special thing. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then, like 6 years later, I'm going to Europe for free. Like what the hell is that about? It makes no sense. I don't know how it happened, but I'm glad that it did.
Well, on that note, we'll let you get back to your preparation for the rally.
Yeah.
Because,
yes, thank you. I've got to
and fixing Buddy.
Yeah, I know, Buddy. Well, but there's a little car show this weekend. Oh, here's a great thing. Buddy is going to be at the Mattel headquarters in El Segundo on October 4th as part of the Hot Wheels Legends Tour.
Oh, that's very cool.
That sounds fun.
I'm so excited. I don't know who's judging it. I'm like, it's probably like Johnny Lieberman and Matt Farah or something. Like it's probably, I'm sure it is. But, and they also, the one that in 2023, the car that won was a Miata. So I'm like, they're not going to pick another Miata, but who cares? I get to go and like have fun and show Buddy off. Buddy
is not just another Miata.
You're right. He's not just another Miata, and maybe he could win like a regional and then like go on a national. Cause what I didn't realize about Hot Wheels Legend is they do these regionals, then they do a national and then they do a world one. And the car that won last year was from Chile.
Oh, cool.
I know. Isn't that rad?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
all right.
We'll see.
We'll look forward to seeing how Buddy does in that and how you do in the rally. And we'll have to have you back on to tell us the results, the experience. And
when we get our finish at the Rebelle Rally.
Yes, exactly. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been great speaking to you.
And
like I said, we'll definitely talk again in the future.
All right. Sounds good. Enjoyed
Thanks
it.
so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Emmy.
All right, welcome back. We have Colum Wood joining us once again. It's race week, although by the time people see this, it will have happened, but we don't know what's going to happen. But what other stories and news and issues are there in Formula One right now?
There's always lots, which is nice. So it keeps me yapping. Maybe the first news is yes, Isaac Hadjar, who's sort of turned out to be maybe one of the surprise stars of the rookies. Maybe not. I think if I remember correctly, I don't follow Formula 2 that closely, but I think he was actually the runner-up in the championship there. So the discussion, Auto Motor and Sport from Germany, who is usually quite reliable, is saying that he will in fact be Max's teammate next year. So there's been a lot of rumors that he could go there, and a lot of Red Bull saying, no, Yuki's staying put, but Yuki's not done great, and Hadjar has overperformed. If I was Hadjar, I don't know. It sounds like a bit of a curse to get promoted to the Red Bull seat.
Hadjar would never listen to me, nor should he. But if I gave him some advice, look at Liam Lawson, Yuki, Gasly. There's just a history. Perez, that seat stalls and or ruins your career. Yeah. So maybe stay in running bulls until someone else gives you an offer.
Yeah, I get the signed letter of intent from Red Bull that they want to hire you, and then I would walk down the street to Mercedes and be like, "Hi, just so you know, I'm worth instead of $2 million right now, they want to pay me $15 million or whatever to go to the big team. I can be yours for 12 or something, right? A steal and do that." So yeah, it seems like it's a curse. I think it's. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go there either. So
yeah, Mercedes maybe won't work, but Ferrari, they might have an opening if this whole Hamilton relationship keeps deteriorating, or one of the new teams. Who knows? Audi might want a young new driver soon, or Cadillac once they kind of get themselves established. So who knows?
Yeah,
if I was saying, yeah, I would sit pat for 2026, because the other thing too is Red Bull could be not Williams, but even kick Sauber. They could have a terrible car next year with the regs.
They could, yes.
I doubt they will, but they've lost so many key members of that team. So yeah.
Well, speaking of what the new regs and the new cars might bring you, the next slide. Ta-da! So here is a very recent interview with Alonso with now I can't remember who it was with, but he basically came out and said, look, if next year's car is bad, he'll likely stick on for yet another year because he doesn't want to sort of leave with a bad taste in his mouth. But he basically says that if next year's car is good, it's probably his last year. So, Alonso.
So next time he's competitive, he's done, unless he just gets too old.
Yeah. And that all changes, right? If you're competitive and you're really good, and it's really close, and you either win it, I'm sure if he won a championship, he'd be out. You'd be like, that's it, I'm over. Or if you came really close, you might be like, oh man, I got to stick around and see if I can do this again. But yeah, time.
Well, we've talked about it before with his that Aston Martin that he helped not design, but have input on how it was done. I think that is his next move with Aston, either with the corporate side or running the team in some form or being a consultant. So yeah, it's probably once the car's good, then I'll move on and, make someone a champion. But he probably only has 2 years regardless. If there's 2 bad years, I don't see him stick around much after that. And then maybe Andrew can drive there.
Maybe there you go. I think it's a case of he would be great as, I think, a team principal or somebody. I don't know if strategy is quite, because he is a thinker, but there are senior roles, I think, in Formula One for Alonso, or even at Aston Martin, the car company, right? He could be brought in to do something. There's no end of sort of things he could do. I think it's everyone pretty much acknowledges that his career numbers don't reflect his sort of impact in the sport, right? There aren't a lot of drivers where that's true. He probably should have a lot more championships or something than what it's in, but he just wrong place, wrong time a lot of the time. So
I know there's way more politics and money in the background, but imagine in a perfect world with Newey designing the car, Stroll's money, Alonso running the team, and then having 2 young up and coming really good drivers. They could really be something, but you got another driver that's kind of stuck there, that's tied to the money from the teams. So, but they really could be a force in the next coming years. Maybe that's sort of what he's hinting at. Like, if we get a really good year, I'll move on. Put some young shoe in that car and help manage them, and let's become a dominant team. But all this just makes 26 so exciting because, as we just said in the last story, some great teams could be terrible and some terrible teams could be great. And then you got new teams too.
The rumor mill seems to point towards. I keep seeing things. It's not really worth a story to talk about, but that Mercedes seems to have the rumors indicate Mercedes has the most powerful power unit for next year. But like, how do they know any of that stuff? Who's putting that? Like, nobody is it's impossible to know that stuff. So I feel like it's just BS. People are just making stuff up.
Toto dropping stuff to the media. Like, we don't even know what Audi has for a power unit. So how can you say Mercedes so much more? But or Ford or Honda, or like, there's so many power units coming next year. Just not Cadillac yet.
Yeah, not yet. Okay, so here we go. So now the Formula One, they've hinted before they like their sprint races. I think it's shown the fans apparently like them and the sponsors like them. So we're going to have more. So next year we have 6 sprint races: China, Miami, Canada, Silverstone, Zandvoort, and Singapore, which everyone is kind of like, what the hell? Like, Singapore is it's often known as the most challenging race of the year because it's so damn hot and the drivers suffer. And now we're going to put the drivers through 2 of them. Yeah. So I mean, the sprint race isn't as long as it won't be as hard, but still, that sounds like a real challenge that they've put them up for. So, but I guess we'll get one in Canada. Maybe another reason to actually go to the race in person. No.
Well, just quickly with Singapore, it's not just the sprint race. Like, they're going to also qualify that day. And sometimes they even have them qualify for the sprint race that day. So it's going to be a long Saturday and then Sunday. But to Canada, yes, I was going to say the same thing. You know what? If there's any teams, manufacturers, sponsors that want some dedicated coverage for this great new year with the sprint race also in Canada, I'm ready to go. So is Colum. So just, contact us. I'll be there. But otherwise, we'll have to maybe rent a car, sleep in it, and go to the race because it can't stay in a hotel.
I'll reach out to what's his name? There was a guy who I've told you before. We tried to get Matteo Bonato on here once because a former contact from another life of mine. He now handles PR for Kick Sauber, which will be the Audi team. So maybe it's worth a little LinkedIn message to him to be like, hey, you need some Audi love in your first year. I don't think Audi will have any trouble getting the love. And if it's anything like the Audi, the car brand, they're going to be all about the celebrities and everything else. So, stuff.
We'll have all the Canadian celebs at the Canadian race and whatnot. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. Maybe I'll reach out to some conversion van place or cargo van place and just get a blow-up air mattress for the back.
Yeah, or hey, if Honda's back in power units, we've got some decent Honda contacts. Although maybe it's different PR folks. I don't know if Chuck over at Honda is still doing it. I was going to mention another. So motorsport.com is apparently reporting that not only we have these 6, but that for 2027 there may be 10 sprint races. So. Wow. Yeah, that's going to be a lot. So that's pretty wild. And a final bit of just a little tidbit of news that they Formula One did release with that news, like the not just the calendar but the schedule for all the races, and they confirmed that the Canadian GP will be starting at 4 p.m. so that it does not interfere with the Indy 500. Because remember, that was a big issue a while back that the Indy 500, if the Indy 500 has a rain delay or something like that, well, they're going to overlap. But they actually, Formula One pretty much always starts the Sunday race at 2, and so they're going to push it till 4 Eastern so that they make a little space between themselves and the Indy 500.
So you're right. If there's the rain delay overlaps, that means F1 is overlapping with the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600. At least that's what it usually is called, the one that starts right after. Which I guess you're not getting much crossover. I mean, hardcore racing fans, it sucks for them, but I don't think the average fan watches both those. So that's a little, just like I don't know how much Indy F1 crossover there was, but it is the 500, which is the one like many casual, if not even casual fans will tune into. So May 22nd, I think it's earlier this year, that weekend.
I think so.
Well, I'm just doing some time of year math, but that's pretty much when it's almost daylight to 9:30, 10. So they have a big window gap if there's rain, because there's a good chance it's going to rain in Montreal at that time. That's very rainy season up here in Canada. So yeah, that gives them many hours to try to still squeeze it in before it gets dark. Because if it gets dark, I'm pretty sure that track has no lights, so you can't race once it gets dark.
No. But, and well, sometimes they just do the thing where they cut it short, and they, it's like how long you race before you get so many laps in, and then if it counts as a full race, it counts, even though it's kind of lame. Remember when Spa did, what was it, 2.5 laps in Formula One? They did like 2.5 laps, and they counted that as like a half points race, and they sent everybody home because it was pouring rain, and it was like
they didn't even hit the green flag. Remember, it was they just paced those 2.5 laps. And
that was a travesty. That wasn't quite the 6 cars running at the Indianapolis back in like the 90s or whatever.
The tire issue.
That wasn't quite as bad as that, but it was pretty crappy. And especially because it was all those fans at Spa sitting out there in the pouring rain. Like every time I watch that, I think, what a great race. Don't I want to be there? And then I sit there and I look at it and I think, I would be miserable, just cold, and you got there's no way you're not soaked through your underpants, just like ugh. So
someone who went to the Montreal race on a Saturday during qualifying when it rained and it was cold. Yes, it sucks. Luckily, I had a place like a infield area I could go. It wasn't inside, but at least it was like tented. But yeah, if you're out there, no.
Yeah, no thanks. Well, as we were watching, the FP2 just finished before we were recording this, and Hamilton's actually fastest in free practice too. So surprising to see that. So maybe Ferraris will have a good weekend at Baku. We'll discover that soon.
I've heard this story before where Hamilton and the Ferraris look super fast in not qualifying in practice, and then when the qualifying and race comes, they're nowhere to be found. So
so true.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We will be back next week with the results of this weekend and to look ahead. Plus, I'm sure there'll be many more new crazy rumors, especially as the year kind of winds down and we really start ramping up for 26.
It'll get even crazier.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
All right. So this just about wraps things up on the AutoGuide show brought to you by eBay Motors. Kyle, we talked a little bit about what you've been up to, but what have you been up to this week?
Yes. So I was in wine country in California. I was in Sonoma to go to the racetrack, which is one of the best ones out there, and drive the entire 2026 Toyota GR lineup. I can't talk about all of it quite yet because, well, it'll be on the next episode. But yeah, it was that's what those cars are made for, right? So that was a illuminating experience, and also it was to drive the 2026 Toyota Corolla Cross, not on the track,
Awesome.
because it's seen its midlife or mid-cycle update, mid-cycle update, and so I will also be talking about that on the next episode. So that was a productive trip, and then I came home and am driving the Mazda MX-5 Miata 35th anniversary edition. It's classic soft top. It's the dark red with the brown top and brown interior, and it looks fantastic. And I will gush about it on a future episode.
I think we should refer to these mid-cycle refreshes as midlife crises now, because it's when the cars have to change, just like any of the midlife crisis.
Yeah, they don't want to, but they are going to.
Yeah, they need to. So I was here all week, and I am driving the Mini Cooper S 5-door or 4-door, depending on which country you live in. It's the one that has doors behind the front doors. This, I think, now completes my Mini set.
You haven't driven the JCW, I don't think.
No, but I'm talking body styles.
Oh, yeah.
Drove a 3-door at a rally. I've had the Countryman electric and gas in for review. I've had the convertible. Now I have the 5-door. So guess what? It drives like a Mini. Huh. There isn't much difference in how it feels from this to the convertible, probably because although my wheelbase is probably a little longer, the weight's probably very similar because I don't have all that complexity of the roof in this. So yeah, I mean, they're good cars, my same complaints, but I'll get into that in a future episode. And then next week, I am off on a trip to drive Jeeps on a proper off-road course, not too far from here, in a town that I'm very familiar with. So I'm excited about that. And Kyle, we will be doing a comparison that I know you've been looking forward to, and I as well, with the
Yes.
Ioniq 9 against the EV9. So the all-electric 3-row, I mean, they're siblings, but they're not, in usual Hyundai Kia fashion, direct siblings. So it'd be very interesting to see how that goes.
Yes. Also, since you pointed out you're doing the Jeep thing, I am also doing an off-roading trip next week, but in a very different vehicle, which we'll talk about next week.
Yes. And yeah, we'll talk about that next week. We'll save it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up the Auto Guide show brought to you by eBay Motors. Until next time, I'll see you later.
So long, everybody.
eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. Ever try to buy your car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.